This video is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. So at this point you probably know what the Trials series is, and you probably think you have a pretty good idea of what Trials Fusion is going to be, which is another arcadey motorcycle platforming game that makes you retry over and over to play through increasingly difficult stages. And you'd be right, because that's exactly what Trials Fusion is, but there's something else going on in this game, and it might be one of the weirdest, darkest turns any franchise has taken in a really long time.
Hi, it's me again, Cindy. Let's have fun today.
Also, real quick, and this is one of the craziest sentences I've ever had to say on camera, I might end up spoiling some of the new Trials game for you here, so yeah, be warned, I guess. So, here's the basic narrative premise of Trials Fusion. It's more Trials, but this time it takes place in this sort of sci-fi futuristic world. You have an AI companion named Sydney, and then another one named George, who you sort of get to meet later, and they both kind of chime in occasionally every couple stages with advice and hints and stuff. It all feels kind of like Portal, actually, but it's pretty light or easy to ignore, at least that's what I thought it was at first until I started thinking about it more and hearing the stuff later in the game.
Attention visitors, we are performing maintenance and would like to warn you of abruptly shifting floors.
I think the first moment that Trials Fusion really started to make me think there was something deeper going on was this stage Fusion Factory, where Sydney, the AI, makes a pretty innocuous comment. She says,
Oh, there you are again, in a manner of speaking.
So because this is a Trials game, and because this line is right at the beginning of the stage, I heard it over and over, and the first few times I heard it, I kind of ignored it, but eventually, after hearing it a bunch of times, I was like, wait, what does she mean by in a manner of speaking? So then I thought about it a little more, and this particular level starts with you launching out of a vat of blue goop, which at first seems like a silly sort of Trials way to start a level, but when you think about it in the context of what she says, it almost implies that you're being created in this factory. This same level actually ends with you driving off a ledge and landing on this assembly line that moves you through this factory and deposits you into an incinerator, which is a much more specific and less goofy death than I think what we're used to seeing in Trials games. Actually, all of the level endings are pretty bizarre. You've got those like sort of normal pile of exploding barrels style endings you used to see in the older games, but then a lot of the ones you see in this one are pretty much miniature cutscenes. One of them sees you sort of falling unceremoniously into this mysterious teal pit, but if you wait a few seconds after the level ends, the rider like gets sucked out of the hole and then gets launched straight into space and then disappears in a cloud of like golden sparks. It's super weird. Actually, I found a bunch of these sort of secret endings for stages if you stick around after you beat the level. There's one that has you riding through the wreckage of this crashed airplane, and then there are all these sort of mysterious steel crates that the airplane dropped. If you get to the end of the level and wait long enough, you hear this warning from one of the AIs.
Notice, these packages are the property of Samsara Industries.
Here's where it gets even crazier. That name, Samsara Industries, keeps popping up between the lines of the game, which is interesting because Samsara is the Hindu word that describes life's recurring cycle of death and rebirth, which probably sounds pretty familiar to any Trials players. Those crates that I mentioned also keep coming up repeatedly. There's one level where your AI companion says, try not to damage those boxes. They're important to me, to you, to all of us. So, what's in those packages? All these hints seem to point to the same very grim, very dark answer. Bodies. Human bodies. I mean, if you think about it, the Trials games have always been about dying over and over and over, sometimes hundreds of times per level. I think what Trials Fusion is implying is that every time you restart in Trials, you're not coming back as the same guy, but a clone of the same guy. It's kind of fucked up, actually. Each life in Trials represents a different clone of the same dude, and every time you wipe out in the game, then that's that character actually dying and inhabiting a brand new body, which is something that happens thousands of times over the course of any given Trials campaign. Actually, we found some proof in the game that the restarts work this way. If you look at any of the collapsing objects in the background of a Trials level, they don't reset when you reset the track, which tells us that time is continuing to pass every time you retry. Basically, every time you retry in Trials, you're not actually rewinding time, you're just dropping a fresh new body into this horrific science experiment that apparently the Trials series is now. The game starts to be a little bit more explicit about this stuff later in the game. At one point in one of the hard difficulty stages, you hear this.
Please refrain from using the retry mechanism so much. You are depleting our biomass supply at an alarming rate.
Essentially, what the developer Red Lynx has done is found a way to take the restarting over and over that you do in the Trials games and actually incorporate that into the story of the game. There's still a lot of things, though, that I have questions about, like how real is the setting in Trials, or is it all like an illusion? What is the nature of these AI companions, etc.? I also still don't know what this means.
George and I were created by the same AI. I mean, the same humans who made the anomaly AI.
I'm sure there's also a lot of stuff I simply didn't uncover, either just because I missed it the first time through, or I'm not good enough to unlock that final batch of levels. But I did find this hidden penguin tennis minigame, and isn't that what really matters? Anyways, Trials Fusion is out today, which means that the Trials community will really be able to get into it and start picking it apart. If you want to start digging into the mystery for yourself, I think the first thing I'd recommend you do is go into the options and turn on the subtitles. A lot of the AI dialogue is really easy to miss when it's hidden behind all those loud motorcycle noises, but yeah, let me know what you think of this theory and what other secrets you've uncovered in Trials Fusion. Red Lynx is kind of notorious at this point for burying secrets and riddles in their games, and I think this represents their most interesting one yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the comments. So at this point you're probably wondering, but Nick, when I ride my motorcycle, I fall off because I'm not aerodynamic enough. That's where Dollar Shave Club comes in. Dollar Shave Club offers high-quality razors for a fraction of the cost of the big retail stores. With offerings like razors, Dr. Carver's Easy Shave Butter, and One Wipe Charlie's Butt Wipes, they have plenty of options for pretty much every part of your body. Shave time, shave money, and join now at dollarshaveclub.com/rev3games.